You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We have a special guest in the building.
Yes.
She's running for mayor of Newark, New Jersey.
Yes.
Miss Gayle Chaneyfield Jenkins.
Gayle Chaneyfield Jenkins.
Jenkins.
It's a hard CH.
Hard CH.
Very interesting because
welcome.
you used to be a supporter of Mayor Baraka at one time, right?
Absolutely. I ran on his ticket in 2014.
And now you decided to go head up against him.
Because the people asked me to, and because I had to, being a lifelong Newarker, I saw a lot of things that were happening in his administration and throughout the city that was not beneficial to the taxpayers nor the people.
Well, Mayor Baraka has done a lot for the community as well, though, right?
Yes, and so have I. My family is deeply rooted in the city of Newark. In 1968, my mother and my aunt started an institution called Babyland Nursery. And Babyland Nursery was for people to be able to go back to work, men and women of color. Because at that time, there was only preschool counsel, and you had to wait for your child to turn 3 years old. So, unfortunately, our people can't wait that long. So my aunt went to Oxford University, did an intensive course, because at that time, only Europe was doing infant daycare. So she went, she came back, and they opened up the first infant daycare nursery in the city of Newark, which took the children from 3 months old up to 4 years old. And so my father and mother also helped with, and my aunt also helped with a group of people, started a company called New Community Corporation, a nonprofit, which built housing. So it's housing for young people, for adults, senior citizens. We had the first HIV daycare center for young people. And I was on the Newark Municipal Council in 1995 till 2006 when Sharp James was mayor. Passed a lot of legislation. And I'm proud to say that in 2014, when I came back under the Baraka administration, I helped spearhead and lead the fight to keep St. Michael's Hospital open, which made sure that not only the Newarkers would have the opportunity to have 3 hospitals to go to, but more importantly, we saved 1,400 union jobs, and health care is being provided for in the city of Newark by St. Michael's staying open. I fought the governor, fought the mayor, fought the county exec, and fought with the people. We had the clergy, we had the residents, so we just knocked it out the park, but made sure that everybody got a chance to have an option for health care.
Why did you leave his side? What did you see that made him say, you know what, I want to go against him and not ride with him this time around?
Well, there was a couple of things. It started off with lack of competent and mature people being in charge of different departments. I don't have a problem if you hire your friends, but your friends got to be qualified to do the job, because if not, you're doing a disservice to the residents. Number 2, when I turned around and saw the fact that there were some questionable contracts coming before us, it made me skeptical. But when I started questioning why were certain contracts going through for certain people, the answer was because we can do it. And I don't think that's what you do with taxpayer money. I don't think that's what you do if you're supposed to be showing integrity and transparency, especially because of the simple fact that we, as people of color, it took us a long time to be able to get into the halls of government.
That's real.
So you cannot turn around and then go in and do what you say the white man does, because first of all, you shouldn't be doing that to your people. And second of all, third, I saw the intimidation and the way he bullied people. He tried to do it with me. I wasn't having it. But I saw how people were being ostracized and divided. And if you talk to one person that wasn't, it was like Trump University. You had to put, do this blood oath of loyalty. I'm strictly for you. And the biggest thing that really made me frustrated was he had no problem crossing the line between the legislative branch and the executive branch and the judiciary branch. And call me crazy, I'm an American that understands you have to have those 3 balance of powers working collectively but not interacting at the point where as the administration. I come and tell you what I want done. That's what's happening right now with Trump telling the Senate and the Congress what to do. So when he started pulling that, I was like, nah, I can't roll with that. But then when I realized that the FBI and the feds and them was in the building, I was like, wow, nope, got to back up.
How do y'all keep it from getting personal though? Like, 'cause like after this, when the election is over tomorrow, y'all still got to come together to kind of like help the city of Newark. So how do y'all keep it from getting personal?
Well, the way you keep it from getting personal is being mature and understanding. All right, so somebody wins, somebody loses, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure that the city of Newark and the residents are taken care of. And so if you didn't use my ideals while I was in your administration, doesn't mean that my ideals go away.
Right.
So I'm going to still be helping the people, and he's going to still be helping the people. And at the end of the day, it's about the people.
What does it mean when you say he was intimidating you though, like or trying to intimidate you?
Well, nonsense like when people were trying to buy tickets for my fundraiser, his brother and them would call and say, if you go to her fundraiser, we're not going to be supportive of your project in the city of Newark. Nonsense like that. And, trying to intimidate me as a woman, which doesn't work, especially a black woman. You roll up on me, I'm going to roll up back on you. So that kind of thing. But then also the things that were happening with employees, when I was having employees coming up to me and the other council people, which they were doing, and saying, I have to go and train this person who's not qualified, but now they're my supervisor. They're making more money than me. And it's because they're politically connected that I have to do it. So I'm like, this is not what we weren't supposed to do this to ourselves. This became the pedagogy of the oppressed. The oppressor, the oppressed became worse than the oppressor.
What are some of the main priorities you see of what has to happen in Newark?
Well, first of all, we have to make sure that our streets get cleaned again. Our streets are filthy. They got rid of a contract for street sweeping, and that has to happen. Number two, we got to have open and honest dialogue with what our issues really are. And it's not about popularity. We got to take it into public policy and not personalities. The other thing is to make sure that that we have police officers who are deployed into the community and not just, the executive protection unit. There's 20 to 30 people assigned to the mayor and his family and friends. And, that costs the taxpayers money. I mean, he ain't the only one who want to feel safe in the city of Newark. Other people want to be safe. But the other thing is we have our education system that we have to work together, because the city of Newark has been the test case for charter schools. So unfortunately, there has been this pitting of the parents, the charter school parents against the public school parents for years, and we got to stop that. We got to bring the parents together, because at the end of the day, it's about quality education for all of our children in order for them to be able to compete nationally and globally. And we got to break down those walls. There's been a disenfranchisement of the Hispanic community, the Latino community. They don't feel represented. That's one of the reasons why when I pick my slate, I have a young lady that's Cuban American. I have a young lady that's Dominican American. I have the first African American Muslim brother that would be elected to the city of council. I have 2 Latinos, 2 Puerto Ricans, but a young lady who would be the first, if she were elected, which we're going to make sure that happens, to serve as a ward council person. And then I have some experienced people and that's running. I don't have a full slate. I have 7 people, but they're all qualified. They've worked with the Board of Education. They've been elected before, but they have experience, but most important, they have integrity and they have a love for the city. And they're not about the nonsense of, you can't speak to me. We have City Hall employees who tell us, oh, we can't speak to you till after May 9th. Give me a break. I mean, we're not in grammar school. That stuff used to happen when I was in high school. Don't talk to him. But they, the mayor and his people promote that, and it's nonsense. And that's what's going to stop on May 9th, because irregardless, we've been speaking to them. And even other candidates that are not on my team. We let them, when they come to our rallies, we let them speak. Mm-hmm. Just Saturday, one of the guys that is running a Puerto Rican at-large candidate who was a former councilman, who was a 25-year career police officer, who was a deputy police director, who was also a deputy mayor. He went to go do this neighborhood spring cleanup that the mayor was saying we're doing a citywide cleanup. And the mayor's brother tells the staff, you can't give him and his people the rakes and shovels to clean up. Well, that's childish. If you got everybody willing to pitch in and come in and sign up, and they wasn't stealing the rakes and stuff, they were going into the community. You can't lead like that. Mm-hmm. Unless you're Trump. I mean, he doesn't care if he divides everybody. But at the end of the day, that's not what we were supposed to be about. That was not the plan. That was not the thing that we promised the citizens of Newark, that it was going to be one Newark. Communities didn't have a geographical boundary at that point anymore. And he broke that promise.
Do you see any positives that Mayor Baraka brought to Newark?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They said he lowered crime. They said that was a positive, something that he did when he was in office. Is that true?
Well, statistics are made up by man, okay? The real issue is the people in the city of Newark. I know the people in the uptown and the number of streets in Hooterville and other places, we don't feel safe. Mm-hmm. And so you can throw statistics around and say that the numbers are there, but if your people are saying, I'm scared, if you have people who are going home and getting out of the city, out of the streets at night, because there ain't no nightlife there, contrary to what the mayor is saying, there's no nightlife. People are afraid. So if your people are saying they don't feel safe, if you have carjackings up, if you have shootings going up. I mean, we had 2 people shot last week in front of the police precinct, the main police precinct.
Yikes. In the barbershop, right? That was the barbershop shooting?
No, that was another one.
Don't tell me that now, because I like Newark. I thought Newark was getting a little safer.
Well, it is, and you can roll with the police protection that has.
And I got it.
That's right. I mean, listen, he got an affinity for DJ, so I guess he'll send somebody to come pick you up too.
Well, I'm a radio personality, but I have people in Newark that's my family. Yeah, that are cops
absolutely.
in Newark. Yeah.
Well, yes, and our cops are. Listen, they do a valiant job, and they're overworked, and it's a shame that even with the police officers, when it came time to endorse who they were going to endorse for running for mayor, there was the intimidation tactic that you turn around, you have internal affairs there, you got the battalion chief there. So at that point, who's going to raise their hand? All right, because you don't want to raise your hand. There were 14 brave souls that raised their hand for me, but there were 18 that raised their hand for him. And it was a room with 62 people in it. So they said that because the 18 raised their hand that they were supporting the mayor. And so the same thing happens when you have the sanitation workers who are afraid to raise their hand. It's just this whole intimidation tactic that I just really can't get with. Because if you're the son of the city and you've seen and heard about that having been done to us, when it wasn't us, how can you turn around now and do that to your people and feel okay with it? When you have senior citizens being told that we can tell how you voted. So if you don't vote for the mayor, you're going to lose your apartment.
Yikes. So how you going to win tomorrow if that's happening?
So there's people out there, well, listen, we got a whole Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad thing going on. People are saying, listen, we don't have to speak about who we voting for. We're going to go in that booth. We're going to pull the lever because at the end of the day, we don't want to live like this. So it's that quiet conversation that's going on amongst the people. And the people will avail. They're going to do what they need to do. And I tell the unions, because, I've left union meetings and they're like, Ms. Chaneyfield, we want to vote. I'm like, baby, get your money. Get your contract. Take care of your family. You ain't got to come out. You ain't got to wear a button. You ain't got to say nothing, but do what your conscience deserves, what the city deserves. It deserves some people to come together and unite.
What do you anticipate happening? You feel
Besides me winning?
Yeah.
I anticipate me winning.
I'm gonna lose tomorrow. I'm gonna lose tomorrow, goddamn, by a landslide.
Yeah,
Like,
right? No,
No, I'm saying that I've been reading that this has been like one of the nastiest races in quite some time in Newark.
Well, you know what happened in 2014 when I ran on the mayor's ticket with Shavar Jeffries. They said that was a nasty race, and it was. Newark, we get down, but the only problem that they're facing with this particular race is Shavar Jeffries was a very nice person, and he was a very intellectual person, and he tried to do strictly policy in his term. The problem the mayor and his team is finding is that the people on my team, we're from Newark too. So when you step to us, we're going to step back. The people you would have sent to come after us, like you did with Shavar and them, they know us. So they know, we ain't messing with Auntie Gayle like that. You got to go do that one on your own. So they can't bring it the way they want to. So they've had to change their game plan. So that's why they turned around and hired a lot of people on the taxpayer dollars to go down and professionally, instead of doing the job that they were hired for the residents, the taxpayers, they're going around ripping down the signs. So they have a whole crew to do that. They have a whole crew to put lawn signs on people's lawns, even when they don't ask for them.
wow.
And so, they trying to do the whole muscle tactics on people.
Sound like I'd rather sell dope, man, than be in politics. No, just playing.
Well, they trying to legalize marijuana in New Jersey. I don't know how that's gonna work, but at the end of the day, listen, Newarkers, we've been through contentious fights. When when Sharp James ran against Ken Gibson, people thought that was gonna split the city. Cory Booker running against Sharp James, they thought that was gonna split the city. The only reason why this fight is so much more contentious is because you have a lot of young people. It's the age. And also you have social media. So you have people who are like, nah, you ain't going to smack me and then walk away. I got you on live. I mean, I caught that smack. All right. And now I'm going to broadcast it and show everybody. That's what happened, how my former council colleague who's running with me, Hector Cachado, that's how he wound up getting the stuff to help clean up the neighborhoods. Because he called me up and he was like, Gayle, they won't give me the stuff. I said, wait a minute, we on our way over there. We rode over, put the camera on. I was like, okay, I'm Councilwoman Chaneyfield Jenkins. You're not going to give them the equipment? You're not going to let the residents help clean up their own community? And the workers was like, Ms. Chaneyfield, we got mad love. I said, I have mad love and respect for you. And I resent the mayor brother putting you in this position. But at the end of the day, go ahead and give the people the stuff because they want to help clean up their neighborhood. Doesn't make a difference. And the workers got caught in the middle, and they should never have been put in that position because they work hard. And I'm like, they're sanitation workers. They do this every day, hot, cold, rain, sleet, or snow. And so to give them some help by having the call for the citywide residents to do this, and then you're going to turn around and play politics? No, you can't get a broom and you can't get a pair of gloves and rakes because you're on the other team. That's immature, and that is just so sad that they would resort to that kind of stuff.
Have you experienced any blatant sexism also being a woman running for mayor?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things is because if I say something, oh, she's angry.
Right.
Oh, she's whining. I'm like, no, I'm telling what's happening. I just got finished passing this past April an ordinance for sexual harassment in the workplace. And when I did that, I did it because we have had women and some men who've come up and said that they've been harassed, but they were afraid to report it because they're afraid that they're going to be retaliated against. They're going to lose their job. They're going to be moved someplace else. And when that happens, now they have a recourse. But it was interesting that during one of our debates, the mayor turns around and says, "Oh, it was just a codification of the existing policy." You dismiss an important piece of legislation. Okay, that's sexist right there. You know, when he turns around and says, "Oh, well, that was back in the day when she did that kind of stuff." I'm like, excuse me, you keep talking about a touchdown. That's a metaphor they've been using. But if the work that I did before I was on the council brought it to the 95-yard line, and you able to kick the ball over, my brother, give me credit, because I think even in the Super Bowl they get a Water Boys a ring at the end of the day. So I mean, it's about teamwork, and that's what's missing. If you're not doing it the way he wants you to do it, how you want you to do it, then it's sad that you're excluded. But, government is supposed to be for the people, about the people, and all the great ideals don't come from politicians. The people, the neighborhoods, the residents, they're our eyes and ears.
Yeah, because they really on the ground. So it might be things that y'all missing that they're like, no, look, come fix this street or come do this.
Absolutely.
This school needs fixing.
Absolutely. And right now, that's one of the things that they're laughing at is the fact that we're now repaving all the streets in the city of Newark. We've been having potholes so big, the cars been falling into them, and now they're doing it. And so people are saying, oh, it's election time. As a matter of fact, we've had residents say to us, you should have an election in the city of Newark every 6 months.
Wow.
Because that means things will get done.
Right.
We won't have to wait for stuff.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're getting everything done now that he's up for.
Oh,
Okay,
listen.
Gotcha.
Garbage is now getting picked up. Trash is, the streets are getting swept. They had a citywide cleanup. You had the police department. They walk in the streets. We even see horses.
Horses in Newark?
With the cops on top of them. They up in the neighborhood, And so people are starting to see all that happening, and they're like, okay, it's election time.
What about the debt in Newark? Because I know the New York Times said Mayor Baraka got a lot of the debt down in Newark.
Okay, so we went from a Moody's rating of F to a D, and he said that was good.
Yikes.
So
I thought it was a $93 million debt or something.
$93 million structural deficit. We're still trying to figure out how that was fixed. Without
layoffs, right?
Without layoffs, and without the additional revenue that we should be going after, because when we were fighting Port Authority in 1995 to 2006, we went after them. We sued them because Port Authority has a habit of using 2 sets of books. They show one set of books to the municipality, and they show another set of books to the Port Authority commissioners. And we found out that they were doing that, and we sued them. And during the 10 years, we were able to bring $1.2 billion into the city of Newark, $100 million averaging. And we're not right now negotiating with Port Authority the way we should be and could be, because they're still using 2 sets of books, But I don't know how you get rid of a $93 million deficit unless it's the fact that if you say it long enough, people believe it.
Wow.
Now, one of the other main issues is also housing for people, because there's a lot of renters in Newark and a lot of gentrification happening and all these new buildings. And while Newark might look better in certain areas like downtown, it's also a way that we have to make sure that people still have opportunities that are longtime residents of Newark also. So what are some things that we're doing about that?
Well, one of the things that I am passionate about, like I said, my family started one of the first low-income, affordable housing that happened, called New Community Corporation. So I am under the Sharp James administration from 1998 to 2002. We built 20,000 units of low-income housing. I'm glad I voted on a lot of the things that are going on downtown, but I'm also very concerned about making sure we change our thought pattern as to how we're going to do the revitalization in the neighborhoods. I've done it before. I know how to do it. And we're going to have to do it because those are the people who were here for the good times and the bad times, so we're not going to force them out. We're going to make sure that we look at different models. We stopped doing SROs in the city of Newark, single room occupancies, back in the early 90s because they had gotten a bad reputation. But now we may have to look at that kind of process again because sometimes you have people who aren't making that much money and they don't want a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, and 3 bedrooms. So we're trying to look at ways in condensing that condos where people can use that kind of access to purchase a home. And those kind of legislative things we can do. The other thing is making sure that the people in the neighborhoods and the numbered streets know that we really do care. We really are pushing it out like we did before, but at a greater rate, because you incentivize the developers by making sure that they build in the numbered streets and they build in the wards that have been forgotten.
Okay.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Everybody get out and vote, man.
He told Mayor Baraka the same thing too. He wished him luck too. I just want
They get it with both people.
Yeah.
we don't live in Newark, so
I love Newark
it's a
though.
little different to
Newark
us.
is
I
a
love
beautiful
Newark, too.
black brown city, man.
Absolutely.
I really hope Newark keeps the turnaround going.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for coming, Ms.
Thank you
Jenkins.
so much. Thank you very much.
All right.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.